It's great to be here in Damascus. I call this the Great Damascus Comeback. They were hit hard with the flooding. It's one of the most charming towns you ever find. One of my favorites in all of Virginia, and so it really broke my heart to see what they've been through, but it's been remarkable. And I guess part of it is just not just visiting with Mayor Lamb and the local town folks, but to give a message to Virginians that Damascus is open for business, that we have 17 miles of the Creeper Trail that's open, or the restaurants and the hotels are open. They want folks to come say howdy to them and visit them. Come here, rent a bike, go on the trail, but definitely it's great to come back. The turnaround here is remarkable. From what I saw right after touring after the flood and what I see now, it's really amazing. So Damascus is coming back better and stronger, even more beautiful than before, and I want to encourage all Virginians to take the time to come out and visit. Well, I get the great joy of asking Virginians to rehire me to continue to protect them. I like to say as Attorney General, I'm the people's protector. I'm the top lawyer, the top prosecutor in the state. And that's exactly what I've done. The turnaround we've seen in Virginia from where we were 4 years ago versus now is remarkable. Not only is Virginia booming economically, but when I took office, Virginia had a murder rate at a 20-year high. We had a violent crime rate at a 30-year high. We had an addiction death rate, the highest we'd ever seen in Virginia. And we decided to do something innovative. We worked with law enforcement instead of working against them, partnering with them. We went after repeat violent offenders in our most violent communities. And we've seen a remarkable turnaround. Our murder rates dropped 30%, double-digit drop in the violent crime rate. We really went after these big pharmaceutical companies that had poisoned so many of our friends and neighbors in Southwest Virginia. They pushed opioids, Purdue Pharma and others, and we've gotten some of the largest settlements in Virginia history. 1.5 billion and counting, but that's money gone to addiction treatment. Want people to get back on their feet, but also we've gone after fentanyl dealers. My office, the Attorney General's office, has prosecuted and gotten enough fentanyl off the streets of Virginia that would have taken the lives of 7 million Virginians. So we're incredibly proud of that. And so Virginia is the #1 drop in addiction deaths in the entire country of any state, more than double the national average. We've been called the model for the entire country of what to look at, both dealing with addiction treatment, but going after these dealers. So we're really proud of that. We're proud of asking Virginians to rehire me because I think we have a proven record. My opponent has a very, very different view of criminal justice. He's asking Virginians to hire him to be the top prosecutor in the state, but he's never prosecuted a case a day in his life. And his time that he served in the Assembly was a time being a social justice warrior, voting with felons instead of victims. And I think our records are vastly different. I have a record of keeping Virginians safe. He has a record of putting really dangerous policies that have made Virginians less safe.
And you mentioned that settlement money. What is next for the opioid abatement funds as we look toward
well, so the way we've set this up, the Opioid Abatement Authority was set up with the General Assembly and the governor, and so these massive legal settlements we have gotten, the Opioid Abatement Authority then accept grant applications from nonprofits and entities and then gives them to these nonprofits. Some of the money does go directly to local government for treatment, but for example, I was able to be there 2 years ago at the ribbon cutting for the Men and Women's Recovery Center right there in Abingdon, a remarkable group to help women get back on their feet. 75 beds for these women. This is the first step for many of them to be reunited with their children, and they got a 6-figure grant from the settlements that we got going after these big pharmaceutical companies. And just a couple weeks ago, in August, I was able to be there for the anniversary celebration. I got to hear the testimony of the women that have gone through there, and it's just remarkable. And so that's been our story. Part of our story for Virginians that are dealing with addiction, or if you have a loved one that's dealing with addiction, is asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is one of the most beautiful, noblest things you could do. And the good news is there's more resources available today than we've ever had in Virginia to get you back on your feet, to go chase your dreams. Virginia is a state, and we're a nation of second chances. Go find your second chance. Don't let addiction rob you of your dreams. So that's been a big message. That money continues to come in. The Abatement Authority continues to make grants every year. If you work with a nonprofit, you work in that addiction space, make sure you just Google Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority. Make sure you apply for some of that grant money so you can maximize and expand what you already do to help Virginians. One of the things that we are actively doing right now, the Attorney General's office is both investigating, and we have filed lawsuits against these big tech companies that are targeting our young people. Earlier today, we did a Protecting Children town hall online here in Virginia, in Southwest Virginia, in which we had parents and grandparents to talk to them about what it is to protect your kids from online predators. And listen, the internet's an amazing tool, but it's also, as much as it's used for good, for us to connect with our family and our friends, to be able to purchase things online, it's also being a tool used by bad folks to target kids. And so we wanted to both educate them, be mindful, but also to go after these tech companies that have intentionally pushed so many of these harmful messages and getting these kids addicted to these apps like TikTok and Instagram. So that's something our office is actively doing, but we want to make sure parents are involved, because what kind of our message that we've also had for parents is, if you give your 13, 14, 15-year-old child a smartphone and you don't have any parental protections, you don't have any limits, you don't have a timer on it of when it can actually turn off, that's the day your child's innocence dies. There's just so many bad actors on the internet. So we want that message to get out in the public far and wide, is get involved. You can go to my website to get more tips, ag.virginia.gov. We want to protect you and your child from these bad corporate actors that are targeting your kids, but also bad felons that want to exploit your child. It is epidemic right now. You have to be so mindful of your child, what they're doing online. Make sure you have those filters, make sure you have those controls, make sure you have those timers. So yes, the cell phone use turns off, and I know how hard it is. I have 3 teenagers myself, but it's a critically important message we want in the Attorney General's office for parents to know you have to be involved in your kids, including when they're using that cell phone.
Last thing I got for you, as a voter in Virginia, why should I cast my ballot?
Well, I'm asking you to rehire me to continue to protect you and your family. I took the politics out of the Attorney General's office. I wanted to focus on safety for you and your family from both criminal actors and bad corporate actors. I think we have a proven record of the double-digit drop in our murder rate, our violent crime rate, going after these big pharmaceutical companies that poison so many of our fellow Virginians. But I also think it's a job application. I'm applying for the job. My opponent's applying for the job. He's never been a prosecutor a day in his life, but he wants to be Virginia's top prosecutor. And what's his record? He served in the House of Delegates in Richmond. His record was voting against mandatory minimums, even 12 months for an adult that goes on school property to deal drugs to a child. He thought 60 days in prison, in jail for a repeat spousal abuser was too harsh. He voted no. He voted to end the mandatory reporting requirement of sexual assault in schools, which was a disastrous policy. He's actually said he wants to pull school resource officers out of our schools. He sides against law enforcement and with felons. I side with law enforcement, and I'm against felons. That's the difference between us in this race.